Well, obviously not a night that we wanted to have in the way that it did, but shout out to y'all, man. See y'all up here on the late night. Salute. Ooh-wee, ooh-wee. Still can't believe we just stayed up this long. It's 1:15 and we took a L. Oh, hold on. I know we ain't had this happen tonight. So, like I said, man, y'all know we're going to have plenty to talk about with this one. Offense, defense, man. Man, shout out to that, though, man. Shout out to y'all rocking with me tonight, though, man. All right. Y'all up, I'm up. We're going to trauma bond together. So hit that like button one time for the culture. Don't forget to subscribe. Let me know where you're tuning in from as well, man. Shout out to y'all. Drop it in that comment section real quick. Let me get that shout out. Said even when we take these nasty prime time, super late night, weather delayed L's, and it has us up here 1:15 in the morning recapping the L, we still gonna shout y'all out. We still gonna do it right. All right. I see you 900 juice in the 310 Compton, California. It's a little late out there for you as well, huh? Salute to you though, baby. Chiller 21 in the 951 Riverside, California, baby. Shout out to the Cali kids in the building with me tonight. Craig Ellis in that 717 Lancaster, PA, as always. So you up on the late night. Shout out to you. And for our early morning rises, that 6 a.m. is going to come fast, but it doesn't matter, man. You know how we do, all right? We're going to hold it down tonight and getting up in the morning, all right? Because that's what we do. Aaron Thorpe in the 740 Logan, Ohio. Shout out to Logan, Ohio. JW in Westside, Columbus. The 614 OH in the building. Shout out to IO. Fifi Fo Show in 11. In the 817 Arlington, Texas. And then we got Wendy Johnson. You know Wendy always pulling up. Shout out to Wendy holding down the 562 Long Beach, California. You know I appreciate you, Wendy. You rock with us heavy over here, man. Steelers gang in the 724, Menneson, PA, and Cecil Caldwell. All the way down in the 704, Charlotte, North Carolina. You bringing up Charlotte. I was just thinking I was with my man D'Angelo Williams doing some pregame interviews. He was one of my guests tonight. And, you know, he obviously from down there doing the Carolinas thing. Obviously, he's not from, that's not his hometown, but, you know, that's where he played that stuff for a while, man. So just literally reminded me of the homie, man. So salute to that, man. Salute. And then I'm going to end it with the homie Eric Castillo in this 310 Carson, California. Oh, I see you, Tim Brownells in the 203 Naugatuck, Kentucky, or Naugatuck, Connecticut. Salute. All right, let me get what I need to get off my chest first, I suppose. A little lightning delay throws off the rhythm, of course, but both teams are affected by it. It is what it is. Thought defensively, both teams didn't start the game off the best. I mean, you think about both teams were able to march down the field in their opening drives and have success, but ended up having field goals, right? I thought both defenses were able to give you that bend but don't break early on. But obviously, was it Aubrey hit a 55-yarder, gave in the lead, then we came back with Boz with the 41-yarder, so we not tripping. Everything felt good. But I just thought, man, as the game progressed, we could kind of, just from my perspective, I felt like we were lacking explosiveness offensively. I like what we were trying to do in terms of being more intentional with Justin Fields, some of the running and stuff, using his legs. But as a whole, I just felt like we never really did enough to make the Cowboys respect us from a vertical standpoint. I like the aggression that we were trying to have. We obviously took a couple shots down the field. Connor Hayward, we thought he was going to be able to pull it in. Obviously, he wasn't able to complete it. Van Jefferson had an opportunity as well. The one to GP on the 22-yarder, it was fun. It was cool, but I just didn't think we targeted him enough down the grass. I actually want to see what he ended up with in terms of overall targets. 7 targets, 3 catches, 26 yards for George Pickens. Him and Van Jefferson were tied for the receiving lead, or for the most receiving yards from our receivers with 3 catches, 26 yards. Najee Harris led all receivers with 2 catches for 35 yards. He had the 20-yard screen. So as you can see, definitely lacking in terms of pass game production or just even an explosive element to make some of these defenses have to respect us. This is what we talked about a little bit last week in that Colts matchup, and unfortunately, it showed up again this week, man. Just not having, in my eyes, enough to keep some of these defenses off of us. And as the season continues to progress, we're starting to just say, I think teams play us a little bit more aggressively and challenge us on the outside to make some of them high end throws and catches that we saw versus what Denver, I think it was. So that's the interesting part, man. Obviously, we know up until this point, Russell Wilson has been dealing with the calf injury. They talked about it on the broadcast tonight. Uh, I guess he should be practicing even more so this upcoming week, but they still weren't trying to make it sound like he was a full participant. So we will see what that looks like. But I thought for Justin, man, of all the starts that we've seen from him in the regular season this year, I would probably put this a little bit lower on the totem pole. I thought that we saw some of, just some of the inconsistencies in his game. Like I said, I liked his legs early. I liked that he was trying to be aggressive with the ball, but with that, he did put the ball in harm's way a little bit more. Now, granted, no interceptions. That's great. But we do want to see a little bit, from my perspective, just a little bit better decision making with the football, man. If we're going to be aggressive, let's not take some of those shots where the safeties are, just sitting back there and it's essentially it's interceptions being dropped more so than anything, man. But I did like his toughness because he took some shots today. He was definitely getting hit, man. But I thought in terms of how Fields was able to, still make some plays out there, the receivers honestly didn't help him out. I thought it was a couple of drops as well that took place out there. But as a whole, I think we got to improve this passing game a little bit more, man. I just feel like we need another something. All right. I'm not gonna say what, but I just feel like we need another something out there. All right. Because it wasn't as explosive as I would like it to be. Running game wise, man, it was a struggle tonight. And that's been the case. We talked about that once Cordell Patterson and Jalen Warren went down last week. It was a little bit more of a struggle to ultimately keep defenses from crowding the box because it's Najee back there. And unless you bring in another guy that can challenge you from a receiving standpoint, defenses aren't going to feel the need to play the too high look where we can take advantage of the run. They're going to bring that extra guy down into the box. And right now, we're not getting enough playmaking out there on the perimeter from any of the receivers to make it where defenses are going to be a little bit nervous or be a little bit afraid of us. So, like I said, man, definitely want to see some improvement with that. I thought as a whole, though, offensive line wise, could have been better. Wasn't terrible. I was a little bit surprised at the ability for the Cowboys to create some of that pressure. But to me, man, I thought that, Fields had time when he needed to have time. Was he sacked? I think he sacked 3 times tonight, and he got hit 8 times in total. Obviously not the best, but to me, I still thought that he had time. I mean, when you look at what Dak Prescott was able to do with the pressure that he was having coming at him from TJ Herbig while Herbig was healthy, it was still, you could see a little bit of a difference between the two of those guys, man, playing the position out there. But defensively for us, man, hot and cold. Felt like at times, man, we created that havoc. At times, that pass rush was showing up. At times, the defensive backfield was creating plays, getting splashed. And then at other times, it felt like they were taking advantage of, right? It was like, man, we're watching, what's my man, Rico? Was watching Rico Dowd run for 20 carries, 87 yards. I mean, let's be real. We rushed for a team 92 yards. Rico had 20 carries for 87 yards. You catch what I'm saying? That shouldn't be the case right there, man. Dak hit us off of the head for 352, and that's with 2 picks, 2 tutties. It was a Dak type of game, though, man. A lot of yardage, a lot of stats, a lot of feel-good moments, but at the same time, a lot of head scratching, a lot of, oh my God, bro, what are you doing? And, the costly turnovers at times. But he, of course, put that last drive together, man. And, you got to be cap to him for that. Even the receivers, though, man, I thought the receivers had a lot more success against us. Now, some of that was those guys winning their one-on-ones, but I do feel like some of the other guys that were having success out there was due to, number one, Dak taking advantage of some matchups. I thought they were, identifying something in the slot that they kind of felt good about. And it was just a tough night for a guy like Beanie because of how they wanted to attack him. But when I look at Jalen Tolbert, 7 catches, 87 yards. Jake Ferguson, 6 catches, 70 yards. CeeDee Lamb, 5 catches, 62 yards. Kavontae Turpin, 4 catches, 50 yards. Rico Dowdle, 2 for 27. Like I said, 2 for 27. He would have been the second most receiving yards on our team tonight. Would have led any of our receivers. That's the type of stuff that, like I said, I just think that we have to defensively. I think that we could have done a better job versus those guys, and that's the other part of why I'm so upset about us offensively. Because yeah, CD, all right, sure, Jake, sure, but the others, nah, man, that can't be the case. And if they're doing it like that, then our guys need to be stepping it up because I thought that we had a very favorable matchup with some of the Cowboys secondary, but such is life. Such is life. But yeah, man, we gotta start to cut down on these communication errors that we're having defensively though, because this is the second week now where it's really been showing up and it's cost us in the sense of possession downs and points. So we definitely want to get rid of that, man. But shout out to, like I said, the Boz, man, his hitting his field goals. Shout out to Loudermilk getting that big time field goal block, making it even, a chance for us down at the end of the game and stuff like that. So I definitely liked that. But like I said, man, definitely one of the ones, man, where you just is frustrated because yes, the Cowboys still have some talented players, talented high-end pieces, but they were so banged up tonight, man. This was definitely one of those ones that I felt we should have been able to win and win handedly. But you have to execute it. And like I said, it's only a mismatch if you make it that. We talked all week about how the Cowboys couldn't run the ball well and how the Cowboys couldn't stop the run. And you think about what they were able to do tonight in terms of running the ball against us and stuffing our rushing attack. Those are the type of things, man. When we talk about our defensive backs versus their receivers, we like that matchup until we get in this game and it's not what we would like it to be, and vice versa. Those guys being able to have success against our receivers and passing attack. So they said, man, learning lesson. Sucks that we had to stay up till, super duper late for it to happen, but such is life. But I see y'all rocking with me tonight, man. So hit that like button one time for the culture and subscribe, man. I see these super chats coming in. Definitely appreciate y'all for those. We'll go ahead and read those real quick. And after that, man, we'll start getting some reactions as well, man. Shout out to Richard Arbizo. He says, Danny Smith got to be the most famous special teams coach. Nah, man, that's Jaws is still Mr. Bubble Gum. Hey, but I'll say this about Danny Smith, man. Criticize him as much as we want. That man finds a way to get the most out of his players, though, man. That's why he's one of my favorite coaches. But big time opportunity tonight, man, in terms of creating the field goal block with Loudermilk and ultimately, man, getting us some fight back into this game, man. We definitely needed it at the time. I would also say that I love his situational awareness, even though it almost cost us at the end of the game. Him understanding that, hey, if we can block this field goal, that puts it, tied up if we can run it back, man, make it a 2-point conversion attempt for us. So aggressive, but communicating that to his players. And, obviously we had I think it was 3 penalties in a row, even got a warning for unsportsmanlike conduct. But to me, man, it was good to see, just like I said, the situational awareness being communicated from sideline to those players to understand it. Obviously, we didn't get it executed, but I like what I'm saying with Danny Smith, man, in this unit. And shout out to Corliss Waitman. Can we talk about him as well, man? We know he had to take over after Cam Johnston went down in that Falcons game. But, man, to me, Waitman's been definitely doing his thing in terms of getting his punt off, man. So I definitely like that, man. So shout out to Danny Smith. And shout out to the return game, man. We did have an explosive kickoff return today. Shout out to Aaron Shamklin. He had the 32-yarder, man. Definitely like that right there, man. But yeah, let's say shout out to Danny Smith, man. He doing his job. Danny holding us down right now, man. T-Star F. What up, though? He says third down defense was trash and a bad timeout. Yeah, was not the biggest fan of what we were doing on our third down situations on either side of the ball, offensively or defensively. Defensively, the Cowboys were able to go 9 of 15 on third down. That's way too high, right? When you're talking about just their ability to convert that and stay on the field. And the flip side, we only converted 3 out of 12 third down attempts. Not enough snaps, man. That means you're not being able to continue your drives offensively, and you're putting your defense on the field too often. And you look at total plays. Cowboys had 75 total plays tonight. Pittsburgh Steelers, 57 total plays. Not enough snaps, man. That's too big of a discrepancy right there when you're talking about just the overall amount of opportunities And then the flip side, time possession. Cowboys had it for 32 minutes. We only had it for 27 minutes. So when you think about the amount of time that Dallas was able to have the ball, the amount of time they were able to snap the football and sustain some of those drives, that's taking away opportunities from us. And that's also putting a lot more pressure on the defense to have to keep making plays, to have to keep, shutting out the Cowboys as they were moving up and down the field, getting into the red zone. Now, defense did do a good job in that, but as a whole, you can't live like that versus some of these higher powered offenses or just higher powered, quarterbacks and wide receiver combinations and stuff like that. Shout out to AJ Martinez. Now, where's the party? AJ's in the building, baby. I love it. I love it. He says, sputtering offense time for 3 Fields is the future. All right. Well, I'll say this, man. Like what I saw at times from Fields, but at the same time, there were some parts where I wasn't the most fond of it. I still feel like, he has to understand that don't allow a bad play to become worse. And I think that there are still some times where he's kind of going back and forth with that. But I love his effort. I love the way that he fights. I love the way that he shows up and he does not duck any type of adversity, man. Like, respect to him, man, and what he's been doing thus far. Like I said, man, we'll see what the coaches do going forward, and we'll see what Russ's calf situation is like also. But I definitely do like in the sense of how he was able to respond at times to the adversity. But could he be better? Absolutely. Was this his best performance? Absolutely not. And he'll understand that as well. But I just think, man, in a night like tonight, we could have used another playmaker. We could have used some playmaking out there, and man, it just wasn't happening, man. So, like I said, we will definitely see, man, was not the best performance from the offense tonight, though, man. All right, Donovan LaRue. Shout out to Donovan. He says, defense is honestly terrible. Can't get off the field on 3rd down and give up the big play constantly. Got lucky with Dak being trash. Bishop is trash. Now, we can't say that the defense is terrible and we can't get off the field, but then when they do get off the field and they do create the turnovers, now we just minimize that and just simply say it was Dak. I don't agree with that. I think that the defense displayed a little bit of bend but don't break tonight, partially because they played too many snaps. The other part, I would say the Cowboys are making some good plays out there. Dak Prescott's the reason why he gets $60 million at quarterback. Y'all saw it. Now, it's the reason why he's also heavily scrutinized. We saw that as well tonight, but Dak is a very talented quarterback, man. And I thought that he was taking advantage of certain things and throwing some fire throws out there as well, man. I know it was one on Benny Bishop running up the seam into Tampa too. And I'm like, yo, Benny, man, you in great position. That's just a heck of a throw. Like, you ain't stopping that. But the high-end quarterbacks make that throw consistently. Those are some of the throws that we personally want to see more of even on our side. Because if you are one of those guys from a quarterback standpoint, arm accuracy, talent, and stuff like that, you attack that Tampa 2 middle runner. We haven't been attacking that like that, man. Go back and watch Ben Roethlisberger when he was playing here. He attacked that Tampa 2, man. Juju made a killing dunking on folk just like that. Linebacker running up the seam, man. That's what, to me, I thought the Cowboys were doing a good job of at times, along with using man beaters because they know we like to play a ton of that. But I would also say that the defense, man, when they needed to make plays, they did up until that last red zone possession. Prior to that, think about how many times they made stops in the red zone, man. That's keeping points off the boards, those turnovers. So to me, like I said, could they have been better? Yes, but as a whole, I can't look at them and say that they were trash. Nah, I ain't feeling that. All right, Donovan LaRue. Shout out to Donovan, though, man, rocking with the boy tonight, man. Definitely appreciate you. He says, Fields misses a lot of big plays, but he's been playing well. He's the future. I think he should sit behind Russ this year. Wide receivers just don't know how to catch. Now, I don't think that the wide receivers don't know how to catch. I think that at times when we're talking about delivering catchable balls or a little bit more receiver-friendly throws, that's some of the stuff that when we're looking at Fields, we do want to see a little bit more improvement in that area. I think it was kind of on display tonight when you would just look at Fields, how he's throwing it more on a rope, on a line, not a lot of air under it. And then you look on the flip side, some of those similar throws from a Dak Prescott, and you could just see just enough of that air and arc. It just makes it a little bit easier on receivers catching it. Now, that comes with time. That's some of the touch. That's some of the accuracy. That's, some of that feel type of stuff, man. But at the same time, you still want to see your receivers catch these type of passes, man, because we do feel like, if you're out there and it touches your hand, you should be able to come down with it. But I'm going to just say, I have outside of GP, I think I have higher expectations for like a Justin Fields than I personally do our receivers at this point. So some of it, I look at Justin, I say, man, know who you're throwing it to, and try to help them out a little bit as well, man. But it said, man, this is one of those things that when you have a night like tonight, those get talked about. Those things get talked about a lot more, man. Let's go, you dub. He says another game of playing down to the competition. Now, I hear you, but who, if we were going to say it was playing down to the competition, I don't think that everybody would agree with that. I know Dak is very polarizing, but there's still a ton of people that were going to say they had the better quarterback in the matchup. And how many times when we're talking about picking games or seeing who should be the favorite in the games, we simply say who has the better quarterback in the matchup, man. Then from there, who has the better receiver in the matchup, right? Then from there, we can start talking about some of the other stuff, but we know it's a quarterback driven league. So I don't personally think this was a playing down to your competition conversation. Now, we can make it as if the Cowboys were something different because of what the national media talks about them. But if you watch them on tape, the Cowboys, they got good players. The Cowboys are a good regular season team, man. The Cowboys are a good team at times, but they're inconsistent at times, very similar to us. And that's why you've seen, what we've kind of fallen into in terms of this little 2-game drop. We've had moments where we look really good, and then we've had some moments where it's just like, yo, what are we doing? We self-sabotaging, so to speak, man. And we're not at a stage where we can just overcome that type of stuff right now. I don't think we have enough proven talent just yet to be able to have the self-inflicted issues. I mean, we're not turning the ball over, and that's a positive, but we don't have the type of team in my eyes that can allow, points to be out there and not capitalize, or allow teams to get points on us, because for us, we know that, man, outside of that Colts game, we really have had some times where we don't just typically score a lot of points right now. Now, I do think that that will improve and that will change, but we just got to operate with a little bit more details, man, in my eyes, man, a little bit more details. Like I said, man, if y'all digging how we doing it tonight, man, hit that like button one time for the culture and subscribe if you are new to the channel, baby. Yeah, man, we got a little late night going on tonight. But I see y'all rocking in the chat. I see y'all. Shout out, baby. Shout out. Donovan LaRue. Shout out to Donovan, man. Donovan turned up with me tonight, man. He says wide receivers showed we need to get a number 2. So many drops. Yeah. Wasn't the most dynamic performance or the most productive performance from our wide receivers. And, this was part of my concern just looking at the group going into the season. I just feel like we don't have a ton of playmakers or guys that are just going to dominate and win a lot of one-on-ones. And understanding what GP is and some of the attention that he was going to garner and has been garnering, it's hard to expect him to, show up and dominate and do all this other stuff when he's going to get his attention. He's also a young player trying to produce, be more consistent. I just think it puts a lot more strain on what we're doing. But at the same time, we are already into this thing. So unless we about to go finish this trade for Devontae and we still monitoring that situation, this is kind of where we're at right now, So we'll figure out the potential like pivot or the next step off of it. But yeah, ain't a lot of help coming through here unless, like I said, that Devontae Adams situation changes for us. But we'll find out what's up with that in the next, day or so, man. Think they're saying what the Jets are heavy on them, Saints heavy on them, and then it's us in Buffalo. So, yeah. Shout out to Red. He says, hey, Moats, what is Deke smoking before talking like our team is top 5? Now, chill, Deke can't help himself. He do this every week, man. It is what it is, all right? It is what it is. So on the guys to back it up, all right? The guys ain't back him up this week, man. I like his fight, but the guys ain't back it up this week, man. But I think that this is also the Cowboys type situation, man. You know what they are. They're like good enough to beat you, not great. Frustrating as heck, though, because the game was super stank, extra time, Lenny, the way that we know how we win. And unfortunately, we were the ones who were not able to come out on top. We usually always come on top with these type of games like this, with his extra stinky and Tomlin and stuff like that, man. But yeah, learning experience, man. Definitely gonna learn from this one tonight. AJ Martinez says a New Mexico QB beat Alabama after whizzing. I don't even. Oh yeah, you talking about my man out in Vanderbilt? Yeah, shout out to the Vanderbilt boys, man. They took the whole day going goalpost down to the water, man. I like the dudes down there, man. But big time for the Vanderbilt boys. And yes, shout out to the Vandy quarterback, man. Delusional Steelers fan. Now you're not delusional, man. I'm delusional, man. Let's get it. Says Moats. GP wasn't in the game a lot tonight. Thoughts on that? Also, Mr. Smith is on thin ice. If I see one more toss to Najee, I'm gonna do something I'll regret. Oh, love. Nah, delusional Steelers fan, you are not tripping, man, and I can understand the passion 1000%. Okay, I thought that with GP, man, it was a little bit interesting. I thought that his usage was still normal, but we weren't really targeting him as much as I would have liked. I personally think he needs to get double-digit targets, and I wanted to be like in the teens, 13, 14. I'm in that range because I do feel like he is the most explosive player on offense for us and gives us the best, chance to have a vertical threat. But I didn't think he got enough attempts, man, or enough action his way. 7 targets, 3 catches out of that, man. I think that we need to target him more, but at the same time, it's hard to do that when we're not converting on third downs. As I said, we're 3 of 12 on third downs. 57 plays total. That's not enough time with the football. It's not enough snapping of the football. And you look at the flip side of it, yeah. Average pass was 4.3 yards per pass play. That's it's gonna make it a tough night. Tough night to win like that, man. All right, Linton Oatman. Shout out to Linton Oatman. Appreciate you being with me tonight as well, man. Says this play calling has been interesting. At times, it seems like they trust Fields. In this game, it seems like they didn't and kept it very vanilla. At what point does that change? And we desperately need a wide receiver too. Well, going back to what delusional Steelers fans said, in the sense of the toss plays with Najee, I think they're trying to figure out ways to not put it all on Justin Fields. Justin Fields has lived that life in Chicago where he didn't really have a consistent, cast around him, and they asked him to do a lot more. And in turn, it resulted in a lot more turnovers from him, a lot more negative plays. I think for us, we're trying to figure out ways to establish this running game, but due to the injuries to a Cordell Patterson and Jalen Warren, it's kind of handcuffed what we like to do. So now it does put you in a position where you have to decide how much do I want to expose Fields to versus how much do I continue to protect him like we've been doing at the beginning portion of the season, where it will allow him to make plays in spurts but not have to be the playmaker for 4 quarters. I think that that's the fine line that we're tiptoeing right now. And at times he's doing it extremely well, but we've also seen these past 2 games where, all right, it hasn't been as nice and as clean as it was those first couple of games. So that's the part where they say we just got to see what's going on. It's hard to make a switch on anything when health is still a factor. In from the way it's being communicated, health is still an issue right now as it pertains to Russell Wilson. So I don't really know, what's going to inspire Arthur Smith to want to trust him in terms of Justin Fields a little bit more. But at the same time, I do feel like it makes you a little bit nervous as a coordinator, nervous as a coach when you do see some of the, haywire plays where it's like, oh, this was a near interception. You just dropped it. Oh, all right, this was a fumble, but somehow, some way you got this back. Just take the sack. Like, man, this is kind of weird. It's just a lot of that type of stuff. And when that happens, that's going to make Coach Tomlin get conservative in terms of how he wants the offense to be run, because he's going to tell himself and tell this team, I'm not going to allow us to beat ourselves. I would much rather us play field position football, punt, play defense, and give us a chance at the end versus me keep allowing this guy to take chances and ultimately, hurt us more than he helps us. I think all of that kind of goes into this thing. And like I said, he wasn't I didn't think it was hostile for him in the sense of not having any time to drop back and throw, but was he pressured at times? Yes. Was he hit at times? Yes. I thought the Cowboys played him very physical tonight, man. Very physical. But we did have options, man. We are not options. We did have opportunities though, man. Um, you think about it, like I said, man, the Connor Hayward pass, if we could have got that completed, I think that changes our perspective. It felt a little bit more explosive. Obviously, we didn't complete that. We had the Darnell Washington attempt, man, should have been a touchdown. Just, not enough touch, not enough air on it, right? I feel like it was another opportunity that we had as well, but we ended up, I want to say, settling for the field goal. So those are the things where it's like we have some of these moments, but we got to be more consistent offensively. And it's hard when, yeah, we do feel like we are a little bit light in terms of just one-on-one beaters or one-on-one playmakers out there on the perimeter right now, man. But hopefully we'll see, like I said, with our guys we currently have, they'll keep getting better each and every week, and that will kind of help us out. Or you look at different alternatives to see how to make it a better situation. Chilla _21 says, shout out Moats for this streaming this late. Yeah, man. It's past my bedtime. I got an 18-year-old. All right. It's past your boy's bedtime. But for the congregation, for you guys, man, I'm gonna stay up for a little bit, man. Have a little fun. Even on the night where we take a L. All right. We're gonna all be super tired in the morning when that 6 a.m. hit. We'll just wake up and be like, still lost. All right, I got it. I just throw my hoodie on, throw my hat on, we roll out. So y'all know how we're gonna do it, all right? But he says Muth still needs more targets. Justin Fields played good still. Pickens had drops again tonight. You think Russ gets the next 5 games? So the thing with Russ is this, man. Part of me is like, if he's healthy, I do want to see him, or at least want to see some of him. But if he's not healthy, then I'd rather you just stick with Justin Fields, because I don't want you to put out a compromised Russ, and now I either get compromised play or he re-injures it and hurts himself further, and now I don't see him at all for the rest of the season. Like I said, the way that the broadcast talked about it, they make it seem like he could be back next week, but not even the broadcast, because they're getting the same information from the Steelers. But it seems like it could be next week, or if not, then it's the Jets week. To me, as long as we waited up, like, man, I might could give him another week, man. All right, because I need to know that thing is all the way right, because I can't deal with the back and forth. I don't want to do the put him out there, he plays one game and now he's back, calf. Like, no. But if he's ready to go, then yeah, man, I'm open to that conversation. 100% I am. R Barley 18 says Najee is too slow, not top end, but to start. He dances too much for a guy that size. Fields runs harder, too much stutter stepping for a guy that big and slow. So different styles of running, also different in the sense of what the defense is looking for when both of those guys are running. When Justin Fields is running, he's running off of a pass play where guys are still having to respect the throw, and from there, as the play is progressing, he's taking off. That is night and day. Or even in the sense of the design QB runs, where it's the QB sweep to the perimeter, QB sweep to the left, QB sweep to the right. Those are just different style runs that they're calling for Justin Fields. And like I said, it's played differently with him out there because he is still a quarterback. Whereas with Najee, they understand that, yeah, he specializes in inside runs. So we're going to pack this box. And unless you have somebody that is going to win consistently from a passing standpoint, quarterback, receivers included, this is how teams are going to play the running game, man. And it's going to be a son of a gun trying to have success unless you do what we were seeing from Arthur Smith early on, which is the multiple personnel groupings, having multiple running backs on the field at the same time. But when you have multiple running backs injured, you don't have that luxury anymore. So I don't look at Najee and I say that he's too slow or it's all on him. I think it's a collective issue that we're dealing with, and he's the guy that everybody singles out. It's like, nah, we could talk about this O-line. We could definitely have more holes we had opened up for him. That was not the case. We could talk about, like I said, man, that's consistently winning on the perimeter when teams pack the box and give us single man coverage. But like I said, man, we don't do that. We just look at Najee and say, man, we're not having enough success. It's on him. I just personally don't think that it's all on him. Now, can he be better? Yes. But in the areas where we want more from him, like in the passing game, heck, he led the team in receiving yards tonight. I mean, how slow can he be, right? How lack of productive can he be? So that's my only thing with him, man. I just think that when we're hurting for production, we look at him and we're like, oh, it's his fault, man. He ain't giving it to us. And it's like, no, what he's designed for, what he brings to the table is very different than what we're looking for in the sense of our quote unquote athletes on the perimeters or, guys like that. That's, like I said, how I looked at it, man. Richard R. Bezo says, two missed a couple, but there were dimes with drops. D was solid, but not clutch tonight. I'll be out in Vegas repping, and we gotta win for a takeover. And I would agree, man. When you're talking about, Justin Fields, man, I thought that he had some moments where he did throw some nice footballs out there, and ultimately, man, the guys didn't reward him with completions. And then I thought that he did have a couple of misses, man, where it was like, yeah, man, we just give me a little bit better throw here, a little better decision here. But one thing is gonna always stand true. We're gonna rock that black and gold, man, and make it do what it do. So salute to you, Richard. Safe travels to Vegas, man, and make sure you turn up because we definitely got to take over out there, man. And if y'all digging how we doing it, man, hit that like button one time for the culture on the late night and subscribe if you are new to the channel. Child of the corn, the Deke Jinx, he called it. I would agree. More respect for the opposition. Bad L. Yeah, Cowboys a good enough team. Not a good team, but a good enough team. Good enough team that if you allow them to hang around, they have a quarterback that is good enough. They have a receiver that is good enough, and they got players out there that are good enough. Maybe not all of them have name recognition from a league-wide standpoint, but they have some playmakers. They have some guys that are, like I said, making some noise in this league, man. And yeah, we should have played better. I still think we play better, we win, but that's the name of the game, and that's why we show up each and every week. All right. So bounce back next week, baby. Bounce back next week. Come on. Russell Schwartz showing some love. He says, typical Tomlin game. Until he's gone, this is how it's going to be. Winning seasons are nothing if you're not winning playoff games. Fair enough. But you got to win to get into the postseason, and he does do that consistently. So I'm not tripping. All right, AJ Martinez, why in the heck are we paying Mr. Clean jersey number 6? Oh, no. Now, with Patrick Queen, Jesus, and Mr. Clean. I know he did lead the team in he ended up second in tackles, man, behind Mink. Mink was balling 10 tackles, 1 pass deflection. Queen had 9 tackles tonight, man, 6 solos. Tied for second on the team in tackles, man. Deshaun Elliott had 9 tackles. Peyton Wilson had 9 tackles as well. And then TJ with an 8-piece and 1.5 sacks, crossing that 100 career sack threshold. March out to him, multiple QB hits as well. But to me, man, I thought Patrick Queen, man, run game wise, I like what I was seeing from him. I thought more so communication and coverage as a whole for LBs and corners and safeties. We're still having the mental bust. We're still having the indecisiveness and the hesitations, and that's hurting us, man. You don't want that to still be happening, but technically we're getting to that stage of now we're no longer in the beginning half of the season, or we're no longer in the first month of the season. So some of those mistakes, some of those communication issues, that can't keep happening. We have to be a lot better with that, because that is partially why the Cowboys were able to have some of that success both running the football along with some of their success through the air. And like I said, man, it's not like we're dealing with a ton of injuries or a ton of moving pieces on that side of the ball. I just think that we got to lock in a little bit better and be more clean with that communication pre-snap, man. If it's whatever the confusion is, man, simplify it if need be. But to me, man, as I'm looking out there, I'm just like, okay, I see this guy right here, man. Eyes a little bit bad. I see this guy right here, hesitated a little bit. Pre-snap, okay, these guys still talking, ball snap. That type of stuff, man, at this level, it costs you. It can get you beaten. Unfortunately, man, it's popping up a little bit more than we would like, man. Child of the Corn says offensive play call or offensive play calling slash style outdated? Question mark. I think so. I don't think it's outdated. I think that is lacking an explosive playmaker on the perimeter. I think if GP isn't going to go crazy each and every week like we've seen him do at times, this is what the offense is going to look like. Because if GP is quiet, who is the guy that is going to make you as a defense say, I cannot have this extra defender in the box to smash the run. I need to have this guy playing coverage to make sure that this receiver or tight end doesn't hurt us tonight. Who is that guy on our team? I'll wait and wait and wait till you give me a name. I'm telling you, from my perspective, outside of Najee, I'm not losing sleep on any of those guys if I'm a defensive coordinator. Do I think they can make plays? Yes. Moof makes plays. Darnell makes plays. Van can make plays. Connor can make plays. Calvin can make plays. But do I personally think that I have to game plan around them? Do I personally think that I have to account for two guys for those guys? Do I personally think that I have to feel more concerned about their ability to beat me versus Najee's ability to beat me? Nah, I don't feel like that. And watching how teams have played us this year, teams don't feel like that. Teams are playing us with the extra defender right in the box every single time. And if it's just Najee out there, they don't have any reason to move out of it. What Arthur Smith has done at times, like I said, with Cordell Patterson and Jalen Warren, they'll put them on the field with Najee. And now we kind of take advantage of the personnel groupings. But we're not getting that ability right now due to those guys being unavailable. So the flip side is you either put a lot more pressure on your quarterback to be perfect with that football, whether it's extending plays or having one of those crazy arms where he anticipates and throws everything perfect, or you got to have a son of a gun wide receiver who just goes up tops and just snatches everything. Right now, these past 2 weeks, we haven't got either one of those things consistently enough. So now when you talk about trying to run the football, how are we going to do that? And now we look at Naj and we like, yo, Naj, it's your fault. It's like, yo, I'm not saying that he isn't also a part of what's going on, but to me, I'm like, that's one of the smaller issues. If we talking about the scheme and we're talking about the lack of explosiveness and we talking about why the running game is struggling right now, that's just how I see it, man. But you know, it's a lot easier to put it on Nash, so I get that too. But shout out to Child of the Corn, man. Definitely shout out to him, man. And like I said, man, we will see. But this is definitely the approach, man. And we like this approach for a couple of reasons. Number one, it minimizes our chances for negative or negativity. But number two, as you can see, in a game where we're not very explosive and where we are lacking in certain areas, we're still able to always be in and have a chance to win down the stretch. Let's not forget that. It took a Dak Prescott leading it down to, game-winning drive in prime time. I'm sure there are plenty of people that if I said, oh, Dak would have to lead a game-winning drive in prime time, before the game started, y'all have been putting money on it. Oh, I'll take that bet. Shoot, Dak ain't going to do that. Dak made some plays. Shout out to Dak, right? Shout out to Dak. But we were still in a position where, yeah, we had a legitimate chance to win this thing, man, at the end of the game. So we can take it however we want to take it. We can look at it as a negative that he prefers low-scoring games where it's going to be you make the first mistake and we win that way. Or it can be I just want to score as many points as I can score and hopefully I can outscore you. We've seen those teams as well. They struggle in this league also, man. We know if you look at the track record of wins and losses, Coach Tomlin's style and mentality and approach has aged like a fine wine in comparison to some of these other people that kind of go with the different trends. But this is some of the negative with that. It does feel a little bit handcuffed at times. But like I said, I personally think that's more of a personnel adjustment right now than the full-on mindset from Arthur Smith. Base HKTV just showing a little love, so salute to you on that one. Farron Bradford pulling up also. He says, why do we not press up on third and short? Also, this Justin's one bad game. This is one. 88 needs to be featured more, way more. Yeah, I would agree, man. I would like to see Booth get more opportunities. The same way we saw Jake Ferguson for the Cowboys get ample opportunities. I think Booth is just as talented, if not better. When you're talking about this being one of Justin's bad games, I would agree. I don't rate it very highly in his performances in the black and gold. So But it wasn't god awful. It wasn't terrible. I don't want that to be confused either, but it's one of those ones where it's like, man, compared to what we've seen these previous weeks, yeah, this one doesn't rank as high for me. And in terms of us not pressing up on third and shorts, it's situational. Sometimes they will. Sometimes they're looking at it and they're saying, man, something doesn't feel right. So let me play it top down. Let me be able to see it. Other times they're trying to trick the offense into seeing something. Man, let me give you the illusion that this is open right now. So when you pull up and think that you can throw it hot, I'm already having a guy that's ready to jump that. So it's multiple strategies being at play. But when it's third and short, the best defense for third and short is to not be in third and short. Let's be real about it. Third and anything under 4 yards is a son of a gun to deal with at this level, man, because you got to play run and pass. That's why we love third and long, because they make it simplified. Dudes are talented enough at this level. You don't need to add on anything to make it easier for them. And when you get into third and shorts, yeah, it makes it very, very tough. AJ Martinez, the 55 is bringing the rain. Happy B-Day to your baby girl. Lexi is 19. I wish I had a time machine and could go back to when she was 3. We need Juju. Shout out to Juju, man. I don't even know. I didn't see what he did in Kansas City. Or is Kansas City on the bye this week? I don't know. I got to check. But yeah, shout out to Lexi, though, man. Little 19, man. Shout out to you, man. Nothing like that dad, like, baby. But yeah, man. Couldn't believe it, man. My little lady, 18. I was really looking at her today. Came home, watching the game. I was like, yo, you really 18? Like, you sure you 18? Like, how you 18? Like, 1 and an 8 together? It's nuts, man. But shout out to her, man. Shout out my baby girl. I don't care what y'all say. Donovan LaRue says, for how good this defense should be, I'm tired of seeing blown coverages, the big plays, and giving up third and long consistently. And that I agree with you as well. I think we have way too many playmakers, way too much money over there for us not to consistently get off the field, for us not to consistently show up when, some of these offenses are having success. But the flip side, I would say, is this. Did they not produce multiple turnovers? Right? We got the TJ / Nick Herbig strip sack fumble recovery in the red zone. We had the Dante Jackson interception on the 2-yard line. We had the JPJ interception. Man, that's 3 turnovers, baby. That's big time. That's points off the board. We had a blocked field goal as well. That's a lot of production from that side of the ball. So I get what you're saying in terms of tired of seeing the blown coverages, tired of seeing the big plays and the third and longs consistently. But at the same time, this is the National Football League. They were playing against the highest paid quarterback in the NFL, right? Dak Prescott. I know a lot of people don't respect him to the way that I might, but Dak is still a really good quarterback in this league, man. We created 3 turnovers and had a blocked field goal. I mean, yo, we need them to be great, but it's like, man, that's a lot of production. That's a lot of production, man. So could it be better? Yes. And that's the beautiful part. We think that they still have more talent, but they did have injuries. Herbig went down. That sucked. That definitely changed the dynamic of how we were attacking Dak and how we were getting pressure on him. But defense, man, I don't know. I'm not tripping on the defense like that, man. I thought they did enough, man. Thought they was playing their role, man, and it was just sucks, like I said, man, at the end, not being able to get that final stop, but they took it all the way down to 4th and goal. Remember that too. And it was a heck of a combat catch, throw and catch, man. Shout out to Deshaun Elliott. Like the call by the Cowboys calling the man beater zone concepts. But heck of a throw and catch, man. That was on 4th down for the game. I don't know, man. I feel like defense showed up. Showed up enough. CWK, is this a loss on the defense? Me personally, I don't agree with that. I think that the defense were super productive, man, at times, but at the same time, could they have been better? Yes. But if we were just talking about the matchups, and this is why I don't look at it and say the defense. If I had to say which unit had the better, opponent, I would say that our offense had the better matchup against the Cowboys defense. No Micah Parsons, no DeMarcus Lawrence. We saw them having multiple guys going down with injuries. And I thought that the Cowboys defense won that matchup. Flip side, we were going against the Cowboys offense that has Dak Prescott, CeeDee Lamb, Jake Ferguson, Zach Martin. I think that that's way more talent than what our defense or than what our offense had to face. So that's why me personally, I don't look and say, yo, it was on the defense, but at the same time, we don't point fingers one way or the other. All of those guys had their hand in it because there were multiple times defense could have got off the field. There were multiple times offensively we could have had some more success. So that's the part where it's like, yeah, man, both parties had a hand in it. I don't think that one side is more minimum or is completely minimized from this. But to me, I do feel like defensively, we did do, the boys making some plays out there, man. AJ Martinez, is last year's offense better? We still sputtering. To me personally, no. I just think that right now we're not healthy enough offensive line wise. I don't think we're healthy enough running game wise in terms of our running backs to have the multiple guys in their different styles. And I also think that we're lacking a true number 2 wide receiver to give us some production. Now, last year we had that. Last year we had Deontay along with the GP. O-line wasn't consistent enough, but they were good enough. Running game was straight, but quarterback play I thought was a little bit more limited than what it is now. Whereas the flip side is I think that we have more athleticism and more production at the quarterback position. But I think that in those areas where we are lacking, I think that that's kind of the inversion of what we dealt with last year offensively. So, yeah, we could sit here and just say, oh, they're sputtering. Last year was better. But I think the context would actually reflect that this year's team is still better offensively. Where right now we're just going through a little bit of a rocky patch. And that's the sucky part about it. Molly Marr showing a little love. Shout out to Molly Marr. Then we got Mason. He says Beanie Bishop needs to be benched next week. Now, I don't personally agree with that. I think that for Beanie, man, it was a rough night for the rookie. They were taking advantage of him, and Dak was on his thing, man, in terms of how he wanted to attack Beanie. But it's one of those things, man, where he'll have to learn. Until Cam Sutton comes back, tell me your alternative. And I think that's what we have to also realize. It's no different when we holler about Najee right now. And it's like, okay, well, what's the alternative right now? Cordell Patterson's in street clothes. Jalen Warren was in street clothes. Aaron Champlin was a part of the game tonight, right? The injuries are here, man. So it's like you got to make the most of what you can do. So for me, when I think of Beanie, I'm like, I'm not just looking at Beanie and saying, man, put him on the bench. Nah, I'm saying Beanie, man, figure out what was going on communication-wise and understand also how they're going to try to attack you, especially with you being a smaller guy, and how you can close some of that distance, man, so that way it makes those throws a lot more challenging. And let's go from there, man. But like I said, for me, I don't look at him just yet and say, man, you put him on the bench. Nah, wasn't the best for him, but I think for him, man, he's gonna need some more opportunities, man, at least until Cam Sutton gets out here. Justin D. He says, y'all played good. It was a great game. Dallas Cowboys for life. Nah, shout out to Justin, man. Hey, appreciate you being in here tonight too, man. I ain't gonna lie, man. Cowboys pulled up, man. Cowboys was deep at the stadium, deep all in the interviews, all in the pregame. I'm like, bro, y'all really out here tonight, man. But no, it was a respectful game, man. They say, man, I can respect what the Cowboys do. I know a lot of people don't like them, but I can respect what they do, man. So shout out to the game, man. Shout out to the game. We had our opportunities though. Joey Weaver, he says at this point we should be 5-0, and I would agree. I definitely would. Like I said, that's the part where it's frustrating because we know how talented we are and we see it. It's just in these games, this is what makes football so competitive. You got a clock, you got penalties, you got multiple variables, and you only get one opportunity in these games to win them. After you don't, it's like, man, we could talk to we blue in the face about how much better we were than the Colts or how much better we felt like we were versus the Cowboys. But unfortunately, we didn't play better than them for 4 quarters, and now we got 2 L's on our record versus 2 teams that, yeah, we don't feel should have beaten us. LS_Lee. He says, Cam Sutton can't come back fast enough. Or Cam Sutton can't come back fast enough. Come back. Now I'm with you, man. Cam is definitely one of those guys that is a proven player in this league. That's a big reason why he's had the success that he had here and why he was paid to go to Detroit. We shouldn't even have him back, but we know he made some decisions or was a part of some situations that ultimately led him back here, man. And for me, yeah, we know what Cam is. I guess that's one of my teammates. I already know what Cam can do. But at the same time, he's not available right now. So We can't just be looking and say, oh, Cam, come save us. No, we better look at Beanie and say, Beanie, these are the areas that you got to be better in, but these are the areas that you're already doing good in. Let's maximize what you're doing well in. Let's minimize what you're struggling in. And let's get up out of this thing with some victories going forward, man, because I think Beanie's a way better player than what was displayed at times tonight. But at the same time, this is the National Football League. Dudes are playmakers up here, man. And if they feel good about a matchup, they're going to keep going back to it, man. All right. Like I said, man, y'all dig what we doing. Don't forget to hit that like button, even if it is 2 o'clock in the morning on the east side. Lord. It's going to be early morning today, baby. Be an early morning. But if y'all digging it, like I said, hit the like button, man. Don't forget to subscribe. I see you, Tim Mall Happy says, Moats, thanks for staying up. In post-game, Coach Tomlin called GP's lower reps, snap management, like when Cam Hayward is rotating, and no other underlying story. Is there more to it? Feels odd for a wide receiver. Yes and no. Yes, I'll start with the no. The reason I say no initially is the flow of the game, man. I didn't think that there were certain reasons why GP should or should not have been out there. As GP, you want him out there every play, yes. You want him to get targets every play, yes. But at the same time, if they're looking at certain things and they say we want this look because we feel like this player is going to give us a little bit better, production in the block, just because of the style of it, or this guy gives a little bit something better for the disguise. It could be some of that. The other part, I ain't gonna lie to you, man. I'm sitting over here like, all right. Are you upset with him, or is it like some trade stuff going on? Like, what's the situation? Because he should be out there with super play, right? So we'll see, man. But it is early for him as well, man. We don't know if he has anything underlying going on from a health standpoint or anything like that. But you definitely want him out there all the time. It's GP, and he's our most explosive weapon offensively. So you definitely want to keep him available and find ways to implement him so we can be more productive. Donovan LaRue says, not sure if it's coaching, but this team has too much potential. Clean up the drops, blown coverages, miscommunication, and we're an elite team. Now, I would agree with you on that. I don't look at that and say coaching because I think that's the cop-out. I look at that and say our players have to play better because I've never seen a coach have to go out there on the field in the game and throw the football, catch the football, make this block, remember his assignment. Because for the coaches, they don't blow coverages. They know everything. They don't blow the communication. They know the communication what it's supposed to be before they called it. But as players, if we don't execute, this is what it looks like. As players, if we're not disciplined enough, this is what it looks like. As players, if you don't go out there and show that you're a professional and not just a pro, this is what it looks like. We can minimize their role by putting it on coach. And that was my argument with Kenny Pickett versus Matt Canada at times. And that's how I'm going to feel regardless of if we're talking offense, defense, or special teams. I always look player and lean more player because as a former player, I know what that was like. It's like, that coach can talk, they blue in the face. If I go out here and make a play, that coach looks good. If I go out here and I don't make this play, they're going to put it on him, but he ain't missed that. I missed that. So that's why for me, like I said, man, I lean more on those players, man. All right. Dylan A. says, why is the middle of the field and run D a weakness? The middle of the field tonight was a weakness because we were playing a too high shell with Minkah Fitzpatrick over the top of CD Lamb because we didn't want him to be an explosive playmaker tonight and really disrupt us. So we decided to say, what's the lesser of two evils? CD Lamb killing us, getting chunk play after chunk play, or allowing Rico Dowdle to have to run the football 20 plus times to have success tonight. We chose the latter, and unfortunately, we weren't able to make that, a couple plays at the end of the game, but we had it right where we needed it to be, and we're one more play, a PBU on a contested catch on the goal line for walking up out of there with a victory, and everybody having a very different feeling about tonight's game. So that's the big reason why the middle of the field and the run defense tonight wasn't as tough. We were not going to allow CD Lamb to beat us tonight. That was clear and evident from the first series. We're like, nope, not happening. So that was what that was. All right. Richard R. Beasley, he says, what's coach's approach next week for both offense, defense? I can't answer that just yet. Like I said, I ain't even watched the tape yet to see what next week even look like. I know it's Vegas, but I ain't even peeped up just yet, man. And we got to check this a little bit more, man, to see what we did well and where we struggled at. Off the top of my head, though, I would just simply say clean up the communication stuff, whether that is simplifying defensively what we're doing, um, or being more accountable, right? One way or the other. And then offensively, we have to continue to get healthy. Isaac Sayumalu did make his return, but we saw he had a little bit of rocky performance out there tonight. I think that we got to be a little bit better up front so that we could be a little bit better running the ball. And I also think, man, passers of the football and the receivers catching the football got to get in a little bit better rapport, man. We saw too many footballs right off the tip of guys' hands, man, or some drops or some bad throws. I just think that in I think as a whole, those are some of the days that kind of popped off to my mind just from simply watching the game. But like I said, man, I definitely need to watch this tape again and then, start looking at the Raiders before I can make that full on, oh yeah, this is how we're gonna approach this week. This is how we approach that. CWK says, was it more Justin or the coach? And I think it was a little bit of both. I think Justin could have played better. Also think that coaching wise, we could have been a little bit more intentional about being aggressive or even getting certain players the ball more. But yeah, I say that's that. Lean a little bit of both. Always lean a little bit more to the player side though, just because they have control there on the field. But let's say definitely was a little bit of both tonight. Donovan LaRue says the defense did well with the turnovers, TDs, but it's the same issues every week. Is it on coaching? It's bend, don't break, and give up 3. No, it's not just on coaching. And think about it like this. You minimize bend but don't break and giving up 3 points. Have you seen offenses in this NFL? Have you seen the way that they can score points? We talk about how we have an expectation of wanting to score 20 plus points to 30 points per game. That's real life, man. So the flip side is for your defense, man, this defense is out here like, man, if we give up 25 points, it was a great day. If you give up 20 points, it's a great day. Nah, that ain't even the approach here. We just trying to show you that, yeah, in the midst of some of these unicorns that you got to defend against, in the midst of the rules being slanted heavily in favor for offenses, that, yeah, you're going to give up some plays, but you're going to be able to create splash in the sense of sacks via pressure and turnovers. That's our approach. That's how we combat some of these high end or just explosive players out there with the way the rules are predicated, man. But yeah, you look around the league, baby. Look around the league. There's a lot of teams that wish they had our approach. They wish they had the way the playmakers that we had and wish that they could do what we do defensively. Yeah, don't get it twisted now. Definitely don't get it twisted. All right, Donovan LaRue also says the offense is young, and I expect them to make mistakes and get better as the season goes on. I expect the defense to be historic with this talent. Well, nothing wrong with the expectations. But at the same time, if your expectations are off, then yeah, you're always going to feel as if we are letting something down or not fulfilling certain expectations. Like when we bring up the '08 Steelers or the 2000s Raiders, it's like, do you understand what historic defenses are? Like, man, even the Legion of Boom defense don't touch those type of guys just yet, man. And that's the part where we have to realize, like, we throw out the term historic defense, it takes a lot to do that. And just because you do it for 2 games, that doesn't make it historic. You got to do it for a course of a season. That's what those type of teams that we talk about defensively, the historic ones, that's what they did. Now we have talent that we can compete to potentially do that, but it takes a lot. You got to be healthy. You got to actually show up. You got to do it each and every week. So to me, man, I think this defense has a chance to be dang good to great. But at the same time, it's like, man, you got to actually go out there and prove it each and every week. It can't just be because we spent money here, drafted here, this guy we like, that, yeah, now they historic. Nah, you just putting a title on something. And like I said, that's always going to have you feeling less than or coming up short. But they get another opportunity next week. They go out there and play well. We'll be singing a different tune, and we know this, man. But that's the other reason why you always hear us say, man, you can't get too high, can't get too low. Because 2 weeks ago, we were having a very different conversation about the offense, the defense, and just the energy around the squad. Now we see here, 2 drops or 2 losses back to back. Now all of a sudden, man, we questioning the overall ideology of how we coach it, the approach of our defense. Is our offense good? It's like, man, this is NFL football. It's never going to be just this consistent. You're going to blow every team out and win all these games and everybody feels perfect. Nah, it takes a lot of strategy, a lot of skill, and sometimes takes a lot of luck, man. And right now, we got to be better, man. But we also got to be more healthy. And I think that also is something that we don't talk about because we're so conditioned to not bring up those variables. But it's like, yo, that does have a negative effect on this team in the way that you're seeing them play offensively and defensively right now. All right. Shout out to Tommy Daggett, the last super of the night / movie. He says, how do you think Fields did? It's a new offense. To me, man, I thought that he, I would say, I was trying to put like a grade on it, like a C plus, something like that, right? But I think I would say that. I thought he had moments where he looked good. I thought he had moments where it was head scratching. I like when he decided to be aggressive, but at the same time, I think that he has to do a better job of just understanding touch versus rocketing certain passes to certain players and understanding who he's throwing it to and what type of passes those guys are going to have a higher probability of catching. But as a whole, I loved his toughness, man. I thought that he got hit a couple of times, man. Pretty good. We obviously know he had to come out the game for a little bit to get evaluated at one point. I love that toughness, man. I love his mindset of, man, I'm going to put pressure on this defense by using my legs. And I thought that he also did a good job at times of extending the play and taking some shots down the field. Like I said, unfortunately, outside of the GP 22-yarder, we just didn't have enough completions, enough production there. But like I said, man, I would just say, right in that C range, C plus, or actually, no, we lost some C minus. Yeah, I put him right in that range. Yep. But it's one of those ones, man. But as we always say, man, can't get too high, can't get too low. 1 loss, 2 loss, doesn't change anything, man. Just for us, understands that, hey, we got to get back on the right road next week. And Vegas ain't gonna be taking it sorry or isn't gonna take it easy on us or feel sorry. All right. So with that being the case, man, hopefully y'all enjoyed tonight's stream. Man. And hopefully next time we do this, we'll get another victory. All right. And maybe it'll be a little bit earlier too, because it is 2:22 a.m. on the east side right now. But y'all hit that like button one final time for the culture and subscribing. I appreciate each and every one of y'all for tuning in with me tonight. And until next time, baby. Peace.